Please enter your PIN followed by pound. Please wait. This conference is being recorded. All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves.
All right, I guess it doesn't hurt to get started since we are at the 10:30 mark. Thank you guys for being prompt. Thank you guys for being on time. Very appreciated. I know that time is of the essence, especially whenever we're in the spas. So the good news is I won't keep you here for an hour and a half today, simply because this specific training is covering the increasing your net EFT internally campaigns, which if you read the description for this, if you're a newer location or in pre-sales or just sort of opening up, maybe don't have a bunch of people in your database, this may not be a very beneficial training for you. So just want to make mention, if you feel as if like throughout this entire training, if you feel like it doesn't really pertain to your specific spa situation or that it's applicable to you, feel free to hop off of it. This is really to assist our locations that have been open for a while, struggling to get their net EFT up. And this is just one of the different tricks of the trade, right, that our top spas do. I used to do it back when I was in the stores, whenever it was the slower time of year. Just another angle to have an approach towards knocking out the goal of getting that draft up higher, especially this time of year. Again, I know the struggle that's happening across the board. We know it all too well. So as much information, as much training as you guys can get, the better, right? So we're going to go ahead and get started. It's not going to take me too long today. What we're going to discuss is increasing your EFT internally. What is it? What is the campaigns, right? Why do it? When to initiate the internal EFT increase campaign. We have a testimonial from a location that has recently done this and has seen amazing results from it, our Chino Hills location. And the different EFT increase phases, the internal phases, there are 3 different ones here, and you do it in a series of months, right? So that's how we really look at it, to be able to give you and your staffs enough time to be able to implement each and every one of these phases. And keep in mind, I am in the midst of putting together a manual for this. That's actually a step-by-step, because you guys know, based on my communications and you guys in my market, you guys know I'm very meticulous when it comes to putting together checklists or guides and manuals for you guys to be able to give to your staffs and basically say, just follow this, especially when you're not there. If you're not there to manage them, monitor them, or show them how, I tend to like to do that for you guys to make your jobs easier and make sure things are getting done. In the event that they can't ever come back and tell you, I don't really know how to do this or what have you. So I am in the middle of putting one of those together. So just bear with me. And we're going to talk about how each of these different phases, there are 2 different ways to approach them, and that is the proactive and reactive in achieving success in these. And I'm sure at this point in your career in the spas, you guys know that when it comes to marketing and prospecting in Planet Beach, it's always the 2 different ways to do it, the proactive and the reactive, right? One meaning, you go out there and you pull it in yourself, and the other meaning, utilizing the people coming into your locations to be able to pull off any of this marketing and prospecting with the end goal of an increase in revenue. So let's just talk a little bit about the internal EFT increase campaign. And again, if you are a newer spa, don't have a really big database or this doesn't apply to you, then, feel free, to hop off on this specific training. You may not need to be required to do this, but if this does apply to you, you've been open 3+ years, then it definitely does. So what is it? And when to use it, and why are we using it, right? Well, this campaign, it's a hidden money-making phase process that's within your own software systems. What you guys don't realize, or you may or may not realize, is some days whenever you're standing around in that lobby or you're running around trying to find something to do, find something to clean, panicking about getting red appointments. Most of the time, most of you don't realize that you have a gold mine within your spa computers. With the database that you have in your software system, there's absolutely 100% no reason that you can't figure out a way to be able to bring in some revenue. And those are the things that you need to keep in mind whenever you wonder, you ask yourself, what are these top spas doing that is working so well for them? Well, we talk a lot about this on these webinars and webinars past, and it's always the critical thinking skill, the skill set of your staff. We always talk about that, but when it comes to management skill set, that's basically what's happening is on days that they know that they can't text that franchisee at 2 o'clock with the same numbers as the 10 o'clock numbers because they're going to get in some serious trouble if they have not sold anything. You figure things out, right? You say, you know what? I'm not just going to sit here and say it's slow. The reason it's slow is because I'm allowing it to be slow, right? And like I'm gonna reference one of my favorite franchisees. Actually, was just now talking about her, Carrie Baugh in Utah. I literally live by the phrase of don't show up to work on accident, show up on purpose. And when she addressed her staff with that phrase, I'm like, what's happening? But it made sense to me when she broke it down, because if you let your spa run you, then your numbers will always be bad. There will be an excuse to be able to be had of, oh, it was slow today. Well, why was it slow today? Because you didn't control it? Or was it because you were physically unable to, or you were physically handicapped to be able to not do anything? What would happen? Because you control the situation if you show up with a purpose, on purpose, right? So make sure that, before any and all things are had, always double check with your staff. Make sure that they're on point. Make sure that they have these skill sets. But managers, for those of you who are managers, spa directors, ASDs, or if you're a franchisee, having the skill set of being able to know when to figure out these solutions, that right there is what makes our top spas top spas. So there is a hidden treasure in your store that you are not aware of, and it is your spa's computer. And for those of you who don't know how to pull your database, just a little quick tip in the event that you've never done this before, it's on your main page, it's on your main dashboard. There's a marketing button. If you're a manager and you have manager login credentials, you have access to this. It lets you filter out anything you want. So if you click that marketing button on your main dashboard page of Spa Intel, you can pull any and all information that is saved within your database. And it could be the entire database, it could be the member database, it could just be specific to people who are pending cancel. You can filter what information that you're pulling out of there, whether it's just phone numbers, email addresses, all information, just names, anything, you name it, you have access to. So just a little tip there in the event that you've never done that before. But when you're already exhausting all of your opportunities, now we're talking about when to do this, right? Specifically, this time of year, I've spoken to many of you, and we're doing a lot of alumni push, right? Alumni campaign. Well, for those of you who might have just done that last month or plan to do that for August or September, this is around the time that you'll always hear me specifically talk about doing something like this, because you're implementing people who are already sold on the Planet Beach concept. So they'll be much easier to upgrade or to get the commitment from them or to get them to give you referrals. They're little brand ambassadors for you out in the field. So it's a lot easier for you versus having to go out and pull people in, especially this time of year when it's so hot outside. Nobody really wants to be hotter, in a figure of speaking, of course. But when to do it is when you're already exhausting all of your opportunities, talking about external and internal marketing. You're already pounding the pavement, right? I'm setting up promotions. I'm doing these enter to wins. I'm doing B2Bs. I'm killing myself out there. I'm already trying to bring guest traffic in this way. You're already having, you're following this marketing calendar, for example, because last week we had the ambassador week, right? We had the ambassador program where we were doing all internal marketing. You're doing all of this. Well, this is something you do in conjunction with that. This is sort of falling into your internal marketing, but not really. It's a step-by-step process, and it's a great way to not only increase your draft that you have every month, but it also builds your staff's confidence. It's going to turn that increase as well into an increase in revenue in other revenue categories. So what do I mean by that? Well, think about this. If you run a phase program on people that are already sold, let's say they're 1 month paid in full people and they're constantly doing this, right? They're always coming in and they're always buying their 1 month, but you have staff that's just order takers and they don't think. They're not thinking to say, you're dropping $99 to get your 1 month every single month when, maybe it was 2 years ago that you came in, somebody pitched you a membership/program back then, but nobody really talked to you about it since then because your order takers at the front counter are just giving them their month and letting them use the services. You know how much confidence it rebuilds in a spa consultant right now who's petrified to discuss or approach any conversations? Many of you right now, I know for a fact, many of you right now have staff that'll tell you to your face, I don't want to call people. I don't want to talk to people. People just say no. They get mad at me. They yell at me as if that's really happening. But they're telling you this. But what does that mean? Well, the core problem there is they're not confident because they've been shut down before so many times because they didn't get that approach training that you guys got a couple weeks back, right? To understand that they came off the wrong way, whatever the reason might be, they don't have confidence. Well, when you're already getting a hold of people that are already sold on your services, they already see results, they already are recommending people to come in. Once they make the approach and discuss whatever you're trying to do, whether it is getting a commitment to an EFT or upgrading, that rebuilds and reestablishes confidence in that spa consultant. So what's going to happen then? Well, in a few months from now, after they've been doing this for each phase and they've built their confidence up, it's going to be where you have a meeting saying, you guys, we have no guest traffic, and they're going to have so much confidence by the time you're done with this that they're going to go, I got this. I'm going to go out and I'm going to bring in 10 reds today. Watch me. And you're going to see an entirely different employee out of them. So that's what I mean when I say that it builds your staff's confidence. Also, it's going to increase in other revenue categories. That is pretty much what it says. When you have more members, you get higher retail sales. When they're using spa services and not just tanning services, well, guess what? You're going to start seeing higher retail sales because you're selling contour oils, you're selling PB Renew, you're selling all kind of stuff to these people that once just came in and you don't even know if they were even bringing an eyewear because you weren't checking. They were just like, came in, nothing in their hands, room 3 is ready, in and out. So with that said, that's also going to increase your membership cash because of the enrollment fees, right? And also for the referrals when you discuss ambassador program with them. The campaign is in 3 phases like we discussed before, and it's performed on a monthly basis. Now, when I've done this myself, I've done it month to month, meaning like I take my time. Phase 1, I would just spend the entire month. That way each of my staff members were working on this every single day, and they got into a habit and got used to doing it, and it gave me enough time to be able to go through everyone. That's just recommended. If it takes you shorter time or if it takes you longer time to get through each of these reports and each of these proactive outreach, then so be it, because everybody's staff is different. Not everybody's staff is the same, especially if you're doing this to test your staff and see if they have any skill set and if you need to replace them. But it's intended to be the easier way to allocate an increase to your EFT, basically. And what I want to do is I'm going to unmute the phones for a second because I believe I have this spa director on the call, and I wanted her to speak on behalf of this program. Hopefully you guys are paying attention right now because I have Amanda Nichols, who has been amazing this year. As you can see, if you're looking at the screen right now, I incorporated what her numbers have been since I came back to Spa Performance and started working with her on a game plan. Initially, my discussions with the spa director was, let's go ahead and get you re-imaged, and we need to set a goal for ourselves, right, so the franchisee can do that. Not to mention, the staff wants confidence. They want to make more money. She wanted to make more money. And as you can see over time, when we started this phase program, this was about August or September that we began implementing phase 1. And as you can see for her net EFT, where she was in August of 2014 and where she's at since June, she's brought that net EFT up. And I hate to say she, but she's the leader in the spa, and she's got staff that they did this together as a team. You could see the net EFT and you could see the EFT increase since that August from starting in phase 1 and how they've had same-store sales positives. And this ties directly into what I just mentioned about the benefits of doing this to bring in more money for other revenue categories as well. Look at the retail. The retail has gone up dramatically as the net EFT has gone up. So they're bringing in higher retail sales. They're also bringing in more membership cash from the member referrals, from them basically being vocal to everybody coming in and doing ambassador. Guys, let me tell you something that might shock you for a second if you're looking at the screen. We have yet to be done with our third phase and go into actual external marketing yet. That's what's so crazy. We have not done any trainings. When her and I started working together on the spa, I had 1 day visit out there because I was doing a California market tour. And I only had 1 day to go through these different phases with them, and they just brought it, right? And so because we had a focus of utilizing our internal resources and that gold mine that we discussed, that was in their database and their computer, I said, you know what, let's make this a focus. Let's do this and this only, and then as we get through that, we're going to train you guys on being little spa ambassadors and doing your 4 promotions each month and doing your external prospecting and marketing and advertising and things like that. We haven't even crossed into that yet. So just keep that in mind in seeing how their in the banks increased, their net EFT is increased. I mean, for 2015, the only reason that there was 1 month where they were barely broken even and was just because they had 3 services that were down, and they were in the midst of purchasing new spa equipment because they could afford it now and they're moving towards their reimage. So I'm going to stop with the rambling, and what I'm going to do is unmute the phone, and hopefully Amanda's there and she'll be able to discuss. So if you have not muted your phone, please be sure to do so by hitting *6.
All callers are muted. All callers are unmuted.
Amanda, are you there?
Yeah, hi Danielle.
Hello, dear. Thank you so much for being able to be on the call today. So just for everybody's benefit, can you share with everyone, what your thoughts were going into this, what the results are, just speaking from a spa director and what you've noticed and, what's happened as far as like members, staff, paychecks and commissions and what you guys' goals are and projections and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Going into it, we were definitely comfortable with just selling. Everyone was coming in and just doing the one or doing session packages. We were so comfortable in just doing that and doing it fast and getting them in, getting them out. And then once you kind of open our eyes to the fact that we can get an enrollment and we can get them signed up on EFT and show us in the way that it's, kind of told them that they didn't really have. We were giving them a better deal, plus they had so many other benefits being a member. It was easy once we got there. And then once the staff learned and, we were having so much success, it's been so easy ever since. They're so motivated. They're getting way more commission. Everyone, it's fun for them to sell an EFT. We're all so excited for each other when we get the sale and we get the full enrollment and we get, a new member. And now we're just excited to start now we're doing the alumni program, so we're just starting to bring all of our old members back and kind of show them all the new stuff we have and, how we've changed or we're growing and training them more and doing things the right way, and we're seeing great results.
Right, yeah, and that's so true what you said about the staff because, we've had staff meetings and trainings, and they just sound so much more confident just when they're talking about it. And honestly, don't you still get spas that call you and ask you what you're doing over there and how you got the numbers up and stuff?
Yeah, we've had a couple of different calls and things like that, so that's a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun seeing more success. It's more motivating for me to go to work, and it's more motivating for everybody else to come in, and they're excited and ready to, make a sale and make some more commission, make more money. Mm-hmm. It's been good.
So what would you say to other spa directors that are watching this or listening to this as far as is there any tips or advice that you specifically did and took this and sort of made it your own? Because I know I sort of gave you just basically the tools and the information, but you actually are the one that made it happen and you implemented it. So, is there anything that maybe you would suggest or recommend that you might have done that made this become so successful, or any advice at all to spa directors out there that want to do this?
Yeah, honestly, starting this, the easiest thing to do was to say that, kind of blame it on corporate, honestly. And
always, why not?
it's all your fault. That we were having a change and prices were changing, and we wanted to help them get a lower price, and this is the way to do it. And it's true. It's not exactly a lie, but so we just wanted to help them get on this program. And then, for instance, we've always tried to be like on their team, and we want to be, ready for them. So then we're talking to them about bringing their friends in, and then going with the ambassador program. So that has helped a lot. So kind of just not really making it sound like they don't really have a choice, as bad as that sounds. But that was the easiest way to do it in the beginning. And then once we start getting from there, it's a little bit easier to just keep going and keep going.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because you're saying that you talked about the ambassador program, and that's been how you've been able to build your net EFT, and your EFT increase has been looking so amazing because of that too. That's important too whenever you're using that tactic, because if you think about it, these people are a little bit hesitant, or the ones that are hesitant, you're like, well, look, we can get you set up on something where you don't have to pay anything. So I'm sure that helped whenever you had that discussion about ambassador for those people that kept coming in buying 1 month or 3 months, and so you actually knew, and you had that skill set to say, look, this is just to be able to make sure you're taken care of and your prices don't spike on you, but realistically you don't even have to pay a dime. Let me tell you how. So that's good.
Right, and still working with them with their price monthly, and not necessarily going in with the full price enrollment and full scaring them away. So definitely just working with them in the beginning, and then the staff builds confidence, and then we were able to collect more money up front.
Yay. Well, good. I'm glad. Well, thank you, Amanda, for being on the call to be able to be a testimony to all of this. And I mean, I know that I've taken your testimonial and given it to a lot of my specific spas, but I know that this is going to be helpful. So I appreciate you taking the time to get on here today and talking about it.
No problem. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Muted, and they can unmute themselves.
So now we're going to go ahead, now that we got that testimonial. Hopefully you guys, you've heard it for yourselves. You've heard the spa director from Chino Hills. She, honestly, kudos to you guys. Again, you're doing an amazing job, and you're only continuing to grow. I cannot wait to see the things that are going to be happening over there. So now let's talk about it, right? Because we've been building it up. Okay, Danielle, what the heck is it, right? Well, let's talk about it now. So as we already discussed, there's a proactive and a reactive way to campaign for this. In phase 1, the purpose of making the temporary customers permanent members, there is a little process to follow. Now, again, you can always reach out to Amanda at California 12. She'll be more than happy to share any tips and advice on how she made this her own to make it work for her. But what basically happened was, she's talking about the reactive approach just now on the phone whenever she just talked about blaming it on us about the prices and everything like that, and to be able to solidify and get those EFTs in her system. That was the reactive, but right now we're going to cover the proactive. And that is utilizing your software, utilizing your database, right? So I literally have the steps for you. If you're watching and you're looking at the screen, I have the steps for you on what report to pull, how to get there. So let's pull reports. The first thing that you want to look at are, when you go into your subcategories in reports, you want to choose the members reports. And then you're going to filter the dates, obviously, for current and preceding months. And then you want to choose expiring sessions and paid in full customers. That report, you want to generate that, save it to your desktops. The best is to print it up. I know some of you who've been around a long time might have like 20 pages of people, but if you can print it up right then and there, or save it to a USB and bring it to go get printed somewhere, but it needs to be printed up just because you're going to have to cipher through that, just to be sure that the people in there, you're going to want to highlight the ones you want to contact first due to the sense of urgency, right? They're expiring next week. So you want to be able to have that printed up so you can just siphon through that, highlight it with, I mean, I'm OCD. I had colors, yellow, blue, pink. The pink was of urgency. Yellow was, I got some time, but I'm going to hit the pink first, right? So however your OCD serves you, you can do that. The tip here on this before you're doing any outreach, because you would do an outreach to these people and obviously say, hey, your time's coming up, or hey, wanted to get you set up again on getting this re-upped, but I have a features and benefits page I want to go through with you. We'll talk about that in a second. So I don't want to get into like the script of it all, but the tip here is to look through all of the sessions in PIF customers. PIF meaning paid in full, in case you don't know what that is. Highlighting those that you know come in every single time. This is another big thing, critical thinking skills. When you see this report, you're going to see names on there that's like, oh, this is Miss Mary. She comes in religiously. I know for a fact she's going to get her month, right? So you're not going to be having to really push a sale on someone to get more services with you, because they're just those commitment phobes, right? That initially said no to the membership / program because of the credit card and draft and automatic billing freaked them out. But that's sort of a tip for you guys is eye up that report when you're highlighting the ones that are expiring sooner than later and star their names of, I'm going to go for the easiest first. The reason that we have that in place is to piggyback off of the building your staff's confidence, right? The more yeses they're getting and the more EFT members they're closing on, the higher that confidence level goes up and up and up, to where your directive that you give to them now versus later after they built up all that confidence is going to make your life a lot easier. You don't have to deal with the excuses, the complaining, I don't want to go prospect, I don't want to approach anyone, they yelled at me, they cursed me out. You won't have to hear any of that anymore. So this builds into that reason right there. Those are typically the ones who will undoubtedly be your easiest success first. So that's why we have that in place. Now the reactive campaigning, like Amanda just discussed, is to slow them down. Now this specific slide, if you're watching this, you'll see that this is pretty repetitive for every single phase, just because reactive is being vocal, putting up signs in your spa. That's never going to change. It all just depends on the message that you're sending, right? So in your daily shift turnover huddle meetings, if you're not having them, then this is not going to work. You need to get your operations together first, and on the Monday motivation calls, when you hear me discussing this, then it needs to be done for a reason, and this is one of the reasons why. So the daily shift turnover, a lot of you are doing it, so I'm not concerned about this. People come in, they're clocking in, it's 2 o'clock, I'm in there right now. Hey, listen, this is your goal for the day. By the way, don't forget, we're in this phase, so everybody that you see here on the appointment book, I made a note right here on this Post-it. They're paid in full, they have 10 sessions, they have 3 sessions left, this one only has 2 weeks left, let's buy back some stuff, let's get them set up, right? That's the reactive approach, the daily appointment book check. Consider having them if they're opening. We always talk about retail sales opportunities, and we say go through the appointment book, right? You guys have heard that a million times from us, and see who's coming in, what they're using, see what products they're using, and try to get them sold on some products. Well, if they're already doing this should be an easy task, but the daily appointment book check would be just have them while they're doing that for products to check out their service profile or the customer information, membership information that's in their appointment detail when you pull that up in the appointment book, because they can check on that and see, oh, this person has 2 sessions left, this person has 6 sessions left, what have you. Regardless of how long they have left, don't let that be a reason for you not to approach them, because of the buy it back opportunities you always have that you can implement towards getting them set up on something. So don't just wait until they get low on sessions or when their month or their 3 month or 6 months running out to make that approach to them. You want to always pull them away from the front podium or the front counter just to be able to discuss, and you're pulling them away from operations, and it's a more personable discussion versus putting them on a spot in front of other people. That's an uncomfortable scenario. So this ties in a little bit with approach and skill set training that we've had before. Just understanding, let's get them away from that member that's behind them waiting to sign in, and the other consultant that's standing behind the counter might be a little bit too pushy, it might seem like an attack, right? So pulling them away is also super, super important to remember, to skill set. Booking the appointment to discuss if there's no time available at the time of the approach, that's important too. If somebody's running in and out, which many of you have told me before, I remember experiencing it myself, the best thing to do is to book their next service appointment to use the service at the time that they want to get in, but tell them to come in 15 minutes earlier so you can have this discussion. Usually your frequent visitors come in either the next day or the day after. They come in a lot. So for the next appointment, say like, okay, well then let's go ahead and book your service appointment. And then at this point, what you can do is book it for the time that they want to come in. If they say 3:30, well, at 3:45 or at 4 o'clock, really book that service that they want, but have it booked for 3:30 for them to come in, right? So this way you have time to discuss it. The top benefits are always to remember your approach, right? The top benefits of whatever it is that you're discussing. Keep in mind these people had a reason why they did not become EFT members the first go round, that you have to ask questions and find out and uncover what that is. Best approach for these types of customers, having calculators ready and available. Remember testimonials as well. Utilizing member testimonials who were people that have been where they were at before but now are avid brand ambassadors out there that's like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was throwing so much money away doing it this way, right? You can talk about that with them. That's going to help you with this. Now, before I go into phase 2, which is pretty much the approach for phase 2, I'm going to give you a scenario like Amanda gave you because this is a training. Here comes Miss Mary. She's coming in. She always gets her 1 month. Or let's say she's a 10 sessions person and she's down to like 3 sessions left. When I see that Miss Mary spent X amount of dollars on these 10 sessions, right, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say it's $99 for 10 sessions. Or is it $100? It's $80? Okay. So it's $87 or $89. Let's just say that she's paid for 10 sessions. Well, we want to talk about like what Amanda talked about. She was discussing, listen, which is a true fact. Our paid in full, our temporary packages that our corporate office offers for us to be able to give to you guys, those prices fluctuate all the time. And I just received word, I'm not too sure on how true this is, but I think the prices are going to be going up here again soon. Here's what I want to do for you, Miss Mary. What I can do is whatever you're paying right now, right? Let's talk about the gold membership even. The gold membership is $59. That's unlimited. It's this location, right? But if I am having good critical thinking skills and I'm a consultant and I see Miss Mary's paying $89 already, I'm obviously going to go for a titanium and say, but what we can do, we can make sure that we reserve what you are currently paying because you come in here all the time. We can reserve that with any kind of account information that you might have. If you have a check, that's best, right? Because we always like ACH for our drafts. This will make sure that the price point, when that goes up, you will not get affected by it. And honestly, Miss Mary, look, this is just to be able to reserve this price point in our system. If you want to come in like you always do and pay with cash or your other credit card or what have you, you're more than welcome to do that before the 1st. This is a freezable program, so if you fear that you're not going to use it enough to do this month-to-month situation, by all means, just let us know at least a week before the beginning of the new month, and we'll definitely be able to freeze this for you. Let's say you move because you're a doctor or you're in the military, whatever the case might be for that specific customer or member. You know what we can do if something comes up? We can just you can gift that to a friend too. So that's an even better deal that you can leave behind for someone because that price point for our programs are almost double that, right? And so we don't want you to get affected is the message that you're sending. If those price points go up, then we don't want you to get affected by that. But let's talk about the people that buy the $69 a month tanning, right? Remember those 1 months? If you're selling that, I know many of you do, you're paid in fulls, your sessions. If you're selling anything that's less than our $59 price point, that's okay. You reserve the program in your systems, in your EFT. To get the increase to your net EFT, you can reserve the $39 silver membership. That's unlimited UV. This is for your UV people. You're going to say, listen, you're paying $30 right now. You're paying $39, you're paying $49, you're paying whatever the case might be. If it's anything under $59, those prices are going to be going up here soon. However, you know it's less expensive for you if you just go ahead and reserve the actual program instead of purchasing these sessions or packages. What that's going to get for you is we just need your information to be able to save this into your file, right? This is going to give you unlimited UV. And what you're going to be paying is $39 each month. If you're not using it, just let us know at least a week before the 1st, right? Going into that spiel. And then you can get them reserved on the silver pack or silver program at $39. They're going to go for that A because most likely it's a lot less expensive than what they're currently paying. You can remove the anxiety, right, of it being an EFT membership that goes month to month by saying, look, it doesn't have to touch your account. If you don't want it to, come in and pay with a credit card or cash or however you want to pay. You are more than welcome to pay that how you wish. This is just to be able to reserve this price, right? That's what you always want to say. That's what Chino Hills did. The first phase, they proactively reached out to everybody in their system that purchased the 1 month at, I believe they were selling those for $49 for 1 month. 10 sessions, they were selling it for $60. I mean, they had a ton of people in their database that they divided up that list. Each consultant had X amount of people to reach out to after they went through it, right, to see who was accurate people that had, sessions and paid in full packages. And they just started making phone calls. They were getting people signing up over the phone. And I think there were days that one day that I was there I know for sure that one day that I was there, they had an EFT increase, something ridiculous of like $1,100 in a day. But obviously it's because they had a huge database to be able to do that. And these people were jumping on that opportunity because the staff had that skill set, you guys, which is so super important. They were like, hey, look, Sally, wanted to call you. Corporate just came, blamed us, which is, I always recommend you guys do that because it's always best to blame the big man in charge because we're not in there, Corporate just came in, they're about to hike up the prices. We don't want to lose you. So here's what we can work out for you. We can actually get what you're getting now for $10 a month less than what you usually come in every other month for and get anyway, right? And what they're doing is they're reserving and they're tacking on a guaranteed $39 more a month, $49 more a month, $59, whatever the person was, whatever their price point was, they were putting them into our system. They were silver members and they were putting that price point in there for whatever they purchased it for, right? In this way, they felt like they were doing them a service. The person said, so I can keep, if they paid $29, that's what they were getting. Because all they were getting were unlimited UV, right? They weren't discussed on the other 4 spa services. So that's what was happening. And they were like, that's a customer experience. You thought about me to call me. I appreciate that. Yeah, go ahead and reserve me at this. Here's my card number. And they were doing it over the phone. So that was phase 1. And I wanted to make that clear to you guys that that's how easy it was. The staff just understood what the message was. And for training purposes on this, if you're going to implement this in your stores, for training purposes, the best way to train staff, especially if they have this critical thinking skill set, is talk to them like you're calling your friend. Hey, this is a really good deal if you think about it, right? Talk to them like, listen, wanted to give you the heads up. Here, let's get you started. Don't ask them open-ended questions. Do you want it, right? They're going to go, no, or let me think about it. But say, this is a sense of urgency. They just came and left. I don't know when it's going to take effect with this new price change. We don't want to lose you. We love having you here. So why don't we do this? Let me get you set up on this. And you know what? Anything comes up, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right? For whatever the reason was they didn't become a member the first time. Oh, I'm in the military. I might move. Or I only go to school here. Or, whatever their objections were in the first place, chances are it's been years since they've been approached anyway. So keep that in mind and say, listen, whatever comes up your way, let's worry about it when it happens. Because we already work with every individual member's scenario based on their specific situations. So we're going to work with you regardless, right? If you got to get rid of it, then we'll talk to you about how you can gift it to a friend, right? But in the meantime, let me get you set up on this because we don't want to lose you. We want to keep you here. We love having you here, and you love coming here. So let's go ahead and do this. Most of the times, like I said, you're going to get those people that are like, here's my card number, do it now. And that's what Chino experienced. So Just wanted to make mention of that. But for the proactive outreach, for those people that you're reaching out and calling, that we just had the scenario example role play that I just did, if they can't have that discussion with you on the phone, let's say they're at work, you're sending text messages and they text you, yeah, I can talk at this time. Schedule an appointment for them to come in. That's always obviously best. If you can get them to close an EFT program with you over the phone, amazing. But if you do that, you have to remember to follow up with scheduling for them to come in for their next service appointment because they have to sign their agreement and their paperwork. That is critical. And for those of you who are going to be doing this campaign, make it a note to yourself because you're probably in an existing location and you have got to start doing this. Have them re-sign the new release forms because you probably have, these are probably people that have signed release forms and consent forms on services from years ago or a long time ago, and you may or may not have gotten other services too since then. So I would just have them knock out all the paperwork, not just their agreement, have them re-sign consent forms just for liability purposes in the event that they get in and utilize any of those spa services. That's going to be huge. You have to get that consent waiver because pulling out the one from 3 years ago when they just bought like a 1 month paid in full for the first time back in 2010, that's not going to cover your butt should something go to court, right? So keep that in mind. I would have that ready, but always book their next service appointment while you have them on the phone because that also will increase your chances of getting retail sales as well. So super, super important. So let's talk about phase 2. What we said about the proactive and reactive campaigning for phase 2 applies for this specific category, only it's going to be different people, obviously. When you're done phase 1 and you've converted as many paid in fulls or session buyers as possible using the previous tricks, tactics, techniques, you're going to move into who you currently have in your database, which is the tanning only. Now, some of you have actually, and it's kind of funny because some of you actually still have tanning members that are on like the $19.95 a month platinum therapy, 24-month or even the 3-month, 6-month EFT that's been around since like the year 1997, which is like amazing to me. I can't believe that people are just like still in our database, but I wouldn't get rid of it either if I had that because they're reciprocal. But anyway, phase 2 is implementing your approach to your existing, there are EFT members, right, but they're UV only, or maybe they purchased back in the day when we had the session-based, right, the 4 or the 8 or the 12, for those of you who have been around a while, you remember those specific memberships. Now, these are going to be the more, out of the 3, these are probably going to be the more difficult because they've probably been UV-only members already, made that commitment to you, and won't get rid of their price point because it's such a great deal. So of the 3, I'd probably say this would be the most challenging, if at all. So for them, what you're going to do is have a completely different approach. So for the proactive approach for here, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to run the same report, EFT members by type, and you're going to go through those who have very limited types of memberships. Let's say anything that says platinum, VIP, elite, what's another one? All inclusive, anything like that that's got tanning members only that are not using our spa services and are at lower price points than our $59 a month members, right? Because if you have all inclusive, elite, I know there are some memberships currently in our database that are actually at $59, $69 a month. For those, you want to try to reach out to and save them for last in this phase because you want to try to get them to upgrade, obviously, to a titanium because they're already paying $59, $69 a month. But that's a management tip for a more advanced training on this. This focus is getting tanning members converted into spa members. Now, doing the same outreach and booking the appointment if they can't do it over the phone, this is not something I would recommend doing over the phone because these people have already made the commitment to you. You need to have face-to-face situations with them and sit them down with a calculator. They need to see what their WIFM is based on what they have now versus what you have already that you're trying to pitch to them. So the tip here is when you prepare to do this specific phase of your campaign, these are going to be the hardcore tanning members only, right? So you got to make sure that you understand that you speak the language of tanning. It's like Latin, right? We always talk about how tanning is starting to dissipate, but some of you are in markets where it's still very strong. So make sure you take advantage of knowing like You're not trying to get them to buy more things or pay more money for something. You're not being a salesperson. You want to talk tanning. That's a language to people, right? Well, let me tell you about our spa memberships or our spa services. No, I don't want to quit bothering me, right? That's what their responses usually are. No, I don't want spa. If I wanted spa, I would have bought spa. I'm here to get a tan. Okay, so that didn't work for years past. What does work, though, is when you say, oh, no, what I want to do is get you set up where you actually get darker way quicker than you've been doing. And you don't have to come as often because you're killing your skin. You know it's not healthy, right? We know it, but we still do it. But what I want to do for you is I want to prep your skin because you're going to get darker faster. Your tan's going to last way longer. So you obviously won't have to come in 5 days a week. You can cut that down to 3 because you're going to get those results faster. Not to mention, we can put you in a service that is going to actually start reversing all that damage and all the terrible things that over the years you tanning has caused, right? We can put you into services that will reproduce collagen production that those UV rays have killed over the years. I'm talking tanning right now. I'm not talking about spa and relaxation and wellness. I'm not talking about that to a tanner because that's not going to initially get them to listen to me, to get them to get hooked on those services. I got to get them there first, right? So you need to be sure whenever you're booking your appointments with these people, their next service appointment, come in 15 minutes earlier. I wanted to talk to you and discuss with you about something that I didn't want you to miss out on. Always making it a personable outreach. Hey, it's Danielle from Planet Beach. Look, I thought about you today because I just received the email from a boss, from corporate, whatever. We have this really, really awesome thing I want you to take advantage of because ultimately, A, I don't want you to pay for your membership anymore because you've been here long enough, been loyal, right? But B, I want to talk to you about how we can get you set up with that, but also be able to get you to take advantage of some of this stuff that's going to help you get darker, like way faster than you've been getting because I know you have that cruise coming up, whatever the case might be. But this is the personal outreach. That's what your discussions should sound like with them so that they say okay to the discussion of setting the consultation. We just need to get them to commit to come in and talk to us before using services. Once you get them in there, it's going to be, I use this term a lot, fat lady. Fat lady's going to be singing, okay? So you're going to need your pitch sheet for yourself, not for them to see, and a calculator and sit down and say, listen, you're paying $39.95 a month right now. You come in religiously, probably 4 days a week. You're tanning in the platinum lay down, and then every now and then you get in the elite stand up, and you come in and out. You buy it. Maybe you get product, maybe you don't. I'm not even sure, but here's what I just found out today. For just $20 a month more, we can get you in services that are going to get you so much darker. Miss Mary, like it's going to be insane. You're going to get so much darker, so much faster. You're going to be able to keep it lasting longer. And like I said on the phone, I know you mentioned to me that you're going on a cruise, right? So when you go on a cruise, you're going to be on that boat for 7 days. So you're not going to be able to come in here and tan. You're going to be living on a prayer, sitting by that pool and hoping that you're going to get a tan. And guess what? You're going to come back with tan lines. You're going to be miserable. Let's go ahead and do this. I have an idea. Now, typically to get you in these prep services, right, or these services that'll make your tan last longer, it's like $40 a pop to get you in these. Now, you're probably going to be spending like between $180 and $200 in any situation where you're using this at least just once a week. That's minimal, right? That's a minimum. You're spending that much on top of your $39.95. But if we just go ahead and just put you in our system and save it to where you can use it unlimited, it's only going to be what you're paying now, just like $20 a month more. Like, that's the gold membership that I'm pitching to her. She has no idea. She's just thinking, I'm going to keep my membership, but I could just do an upgrade to my existing membership, and just $20 a month, I can utilize this, and then go, oh, and by the way, you've been tanning for 10 years. You've been a member here for a very long time. I know because I'm, she might be a more mature lady. You're talking to her. I know for a fact I'm already paying attention to doing preventative measures. I'm already utilizing our skin repair services. So you're probably going to want to start taking advantage of these repair services that we have, which is red light therapy, facial, or even the hydration. As she wants to hydrate before tanning, or she wants to just generally hydrate, right? Or the red fusion service, Beauty Angel, anything like that. We can do that for you after you utilize any of your UV services. That way, anything you're doing moving forward, you're going to go ahead and you're going to be working towards reversing all of the signs of any early aging, any damage that you might have caused to your skin. You'll be able to utilize this every day if you wanted. Not to mention you get the perks of being able to get massages, facials, You get to use that sauna if you wanted as much as you wanted as well. That comes with this. So not like you'll use it, but in the event that you do want to use it, you also can bring in friends, Miss Mary. I know you work at the office all the time. You have your friends that sit in the car with you at times, whatever the case might be, right? But they can use services because you'd be along the lines of that status, right? You'd be able to get those advantages. And so I'm talking to her about features and benefits that she wants to hear. I'm not talking to her about spa, and I'm not trying to push any type of sale on her. What I'm trying to do is say, look, I wanted you to come in here because I thought about you specifically. Okay? So this is super important to be able to have a staff that's trained on the skill set to understand how to have this conversation and book the appointment. So be proactive about it on this specific phase, and then be reactive about it as well when you cross into this, right? You want to be sure that people are talking. Now, in a situation, when I have a tanning member coming in who's on their way out to set their next day to come in and just use UV services, or maybe they only use like a service a month, I mean, that's going to be two different conversations, and you and I both know that, right? Okay, well, we're going to book an appointment for you tomorrow. Golly, I can't believe you still have this old membership, and you come in so much, Amy. Why do you do that when you can just utilize the other services so you don't have to come in here every day? Not like we don't want you in here, but you have 2 jobs and you go to school. This is probably like so out of your way. Why don't we do this? You're paying this right now, okay? You're paying $49 a month just to tan. I mean, we have something that we can reserve for you. Just $10 a month, you can get unlimited use to be able to use our prep services. This will get you darker like way quicker, and this is going to keep that tan lasting longer. So guess what? You don't have to come in here every day. Not to mention, I mean, you're going to probably love that facial. Just because you're a model. I don't know, you mentioned you were a model and you got a photo shoot coming up in about a month. Didn't you say something like that? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be nothing today. Don't worry about it. Today we're not going to do anything. You're already an EFT member. You don't want to buy anything back, right? You don't want to charge them to upgrade because they won't do it. This isn't going to affect anything, except on the first, instead of your 49, it's going to be 59. I mean, you're only getting tanning here. You're limited. You don't have all the benefits that our spa members have. You can utilize anything you want. You're like the elite. You're the VIP. You can come in whenever you want, use as many services as you want. You're not limited. So why are you missing out on that for just $10 a month more when it's $40 a spa session to be able to utilize that stuff? Like, that's crazy to me. They have to know how to do that when people come in and out, right? So that's important for them to be trained on having that discussion in the daily shift turnover and the huddle meetings. Talk about that, the daily appointment book check, right? Pulling them away from the front counter if, in fact, there are people around. Remembering the benefits that they want to hear. They don't want to hear any other benefit about anything else at all except for, why should I do this? Show me why I need to spend $10, $20 a month more, right? And the same goes for people that are at $59 already or between there and $89. If you want to push and you want to push yourselves in this specific phase and go for the titanium, see what I did there? Go for the gold, go for the titanium. That's funny. I don't care who you are. But if you want to go for the titanium, by all means, your staff's going to be fully confident at this point to be able to go, listen, I know you said that your kids live in, this city over here, right? Where your ex-husband, you guys go back and forth and you work over here. We have a location out there and you're paying maybe a $10 reciprocation fee, or maybe you're not going in there because you don't think you can. It's not your home spa, or you don't want to pay full price for your sunless, right? Well, this is crazy. Already paying $59, $69, $79 for just $10, $15, $20 more. You can be able to utilize that spa as often as you like. The only thing that you obviously need to pay for is your $10 cartridge fee if you did sunless. But you can use that location over there if we just went ahead and set you up on this. Not to mention, you get that really cool loyalty rewards program. You've been a member with us for 4 years already, so stick around for another couple years, and that could cut in half at to $49. You know what, Miss Mary? I'm just going to get you set up on this because I don't want you to miss out on this. This is really, this specific program that I'm talking about. It's usually $149 a month, and we have it right now at $89. So that's really valued at $149 a month, and you guys know that in our sales process training. So, making that approach and having that discussion that way, by all means, go for the titanium. Then our last phase that we have is the making the permanent members from phase 1 upgraded to permanent members. Now this is similar to phase 2, but we're going back to 2 phases. We're going back to those who we got to make a commitment to us, right? They initially increased your EFT for you by reserving whatever they were paying per month at that moment. Let's just get this price point reserved for you. You always come in and spend X amount of dollars. Well, guess what? That's what your EFT is going to be each month. That is how much your billing is going to be each month. I'm just going to match it to the silver or gold depending on the price point, right? This is the point where we go back to them because they've had about a month, 2 months to enjoy this, and they're still coming in and they're like, oh man, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, right? We're going to do the same thing with the proactive and the reactive, and we're going to approach them and we're going to talk to them and remembering this. Now, if you're watching the screen, it's really important that you're looking at this. The tip here is when you are preparing this campaign, you've recently upgraded these paid in fulls, be sure that you understand that you highlight the features and benefits of becoming a spa member versus just using that tanning. This is what Chino Hills did. They reserved people that were just tanning only because they've been a tanning salon for so long that their spa service, their one spa service that they had at the time, nobody even utilized. They didn't realize that what the benefits were of that and how it tied directly into getting them darker, right? So these are the UV members that only. You've never really discussed the spa with them. You just wanted to get them to commit and you backed down because you don't want to be pushy. So we need to remember we're talking their language again. This means the only way that you're going to get them to see any value in your spa program is if you pitch them that you'll be featuring the benefits that are the dollar value. You want to remember dollar value, right? Because what you did was you reserved them on a price point so that the price wouldn't go up on them. So make sure your critical thinking skills kick in again and they understand in their approach, like you see here in the examples. I know that we got you initially set up on this, and isn't it much more convenient? Didn't I tell you that it was going to be like way better for you? They're going to say yes, hopefully at that point. And then you're going to say, look, just $20 a month more, you're going to be getting a way darker tan. It's going to be happening way faster for you. And it's going to last up to 3 times as long, right, as you are just coming in and utilizing just the tanning beds. So the best part about this is, at this point, they've been using these services for so long, they're definitely worried about their skin, you guys. What they tell you to your face, if you guys have approached anybody about an upgrade before and they're like, no, I just don't care, I don't want it. Who doesn't care about their skin falling off of their body? We know what the terrible and the harmful effects and the backlash is on this already. We don't need anybody else telling us. It's just like if you're a drinker or a smoker, if you do have a bad habit, if you drink too much coffee, we hear it all the time and it's the most annoying thing. That's bad for you. I know for a fact I have terrible bad habits. So when somebody tells me, that's bad for you, I'm like, oh my God, really? I had no idea. Thank you for giving me this information for the first time ever. So they don't want to hear your lecture, but they do want to hear, look, I'm doing it already. And if you happen to be younger than them, your staff happens to be younger than them, that's actually an added benefit for them to say, I'm already starting to utilize these services for preventative measures. You've been around a while, you've been using these services. Most of our members, right, here's my testimonial because they want to hear, well, if everybody else is doing it, she's not just trying to sell me, right? Most of our members that have been around just as long as you have, they found that when they started using these services, they were wishing that when they became members the first time that we've had these things. They were actually kind of mad that we didn't have it back then and didn't start, utilizing spa earlier, but now that we have it, that's all that they do, and they have their daily routine. They have their every other day. They'll come in twice a week, whatever the case might be, and they do not break their routine. They swear by it. They'll come in, they'll hydrate, they'll tan, or they'll mystic, whatever the case might be, sunless, and then they'll follow that up with a red light, right? So, you want to utilize that to your advantage, and don't hesitate to pull the app out because we have a gallery in there with before and after pictures of skin issues, right, of wrinkles and that look better from our facial, that scars, or the hydration, the pictures of the before and after from that girl using hydration and the cellulite. So we have pictures for you. Use that if need be. But you have to remember that these are the ones that you upgraded into an EFT in general. So don't sway them or don't be pushy about this I guess, upsell, right? Because they're going to be spending, we were asking them to spend more money when initially you got them set on this in the first place so that they didn't have to spend more money. You want to have this conversation with them just based on the fact that you're a consultant. You wanted to share information that you thought they would find beneficial and would appreciate versus had you not told them about it before. So hopefully you guys understand what I mean by that. Reactive campaigning for this as well, it's the same thing. So take a screenshot. This has remained the same across the board. Remember to cover having your pitch sheet is only for your reference and your reference only when you're trying to convert a paid in full into an EFT. Don't let them see it so much. I'm not a fan of that personally, just because you're letting them be too involved, see too much information where they can work you versus the other way around. So only as a reference check to be able to cover features and benefits that you know that they need to hear as a consumer. If you know they don't care about getting discounts on MAP, don't talk about this right now, okay? This is the time where you want to talk about the fact that you're spending more than you have to. This makes absolutely no sense. We don't want to lose you. You know, saying these things, talking about those pointers, saying that you're already spending X amount of dollars and you're only getting this. You're getting no benefits out of that, right? So talk about the fact that they could transfer this, give it away to somebody. You're not stuck. Tell them we can cross that bridge when we get there. You don't have to be a member with us for this long. We won't penalize you a $99 cancellation fee because we understand that we're setting you up with this specifically so that you don't get affected by any price inflations that are on your favorite little package that you always get, right? We don't want you to have that because we don't want you to get affected. Therefore, we'll make the exception for you. Again, that's what Chino Hills had done. Now we have tools for you guys available. If you have seen this before on the daily prospecting log, this is a really good tool that you could put. If you use binders right now for your staff, or if you use the digital tracking log where they're logging leads in general for their prospecting efforts, use the same sheet. That way, whenever you give them their list and they split it up and they're reaching out, doing proactive outreach for all of these phases, they can log this information. It's great to manage them to a goal. You can see exactly who is doing what and see if they're staying on track to reaching out to people. When was the last time that they reached out? Did they make their appointment? So this is a management tool for you to be able to hold them accountable, but it also helps them if every day they're checking this and they're looking at this and going, oh, this person told me to call them back today and talk about this, or they were busy that time, they were in a meeting, they told me to call back, I totally forgot, let me call them now and get their appointment booked to discuss this, right? So this is a really good tool to use. That's on Orion. And as you see on the left, there is an example script for the paid in full to get them into the door before their next service appointment's booked. That's an example script. And like I said, I'm working on a manual where I'll have example scripts for the other phases as well. But just wanted you to see that there are resources you could take advantage of that do exist in Orion in our Spa Performance folder. Go dig around in there, you guys. That place is like a gold mine. You can get so many things in there that you can use for things like this, for these campaigns, right? Because I just thought about doing this specifically and utilizing these specific tools. Like I would personally use this if I was in the store doing this campaign. But I mean, there's so many other things you can use to your advantage for accountability purposes and for guidance and assistance throughout all of this stuff. So before I let you go, I did find, and you guys can't make fun of me now because I'm not the best actress in the world, which is why you guys never see me do videos. I'm the worst. But when Lindsay was here, her and we recorded an example to this when we had a previous training. And so maybe this can help you and guide you in understanding how the process works for being reactive to people that are only paid in full, that come in frequently, that you never were able to get a commitment from. So I'm going to play this now. Hopefully you guys can hear it. And please don't send me any flowers for my Oscar-winning performances.
Hey, Lindsay. Not much. I saw you were coming in today. I was excited to see you and see how you were looking because I know you started that new 90-day workout plan. How's that going?
Good. It's going good. I'm working like a crazy person, but
you look good. You look so dark. So I noticed you're doing the platinum lay down today. So I'm glad that you're doing this hydration though. Have you done this before?
one other time, a long time ago, I did.
Okay. Yeah, that's really going to help. That's going to prep your skin. That's actually going to help you. The more you keep using other services that are going to coincide with using the UV, the darker you'll get and the longer it'll last. So
Awesome.
did you actually register?
I totally forgot.
That's
Alright.
okay. That's okay. She's actually getting your service ready for you right now. But Lindsay, you know what? While she's getting your service ready, I did want to talk to you about your package. You always get the paid in full package, right? For the 1 month.
Yeah.
It's expiring next week. Were you going to just get another one?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. Why didn't you? Whenever you first came here back in 2008, you've been around for a while. I can remember when you first came.
Oh my goodness.
When you first came back here in 2008, did you know about the different options that we have?
Yeah, but I was like credit card.
Yeah, the membership. No, that's okay. I know a couple of people have their thoughts and their feelings about that. I'm the same way because that just happened to me at the gym. Like they were still taken out of my credit card, and I was like, I didn't want anything to do with it. So I definitely understand how you feel. But I wanted to talk to you about you're paying right now $99 every single month when you come in here. And you come in religiously, so I mean, it's not like you can't. I mean, you're going to be coming in, right? You're going to be using these services. We have the same thing that you're using. We have that membership. It's half of what you're paying right now in full. So if you do the membership, then we can guarantee you with a risk-free guarantee that you can keep that price point at half of what you're paying right now. And we
It's
can
every
guarantee-
month.
It is every month, but it is freezable. So
Oh, okay, good.
you know, whenever
Because you know how sometimes I'll come in and don't.
yeah, you do.
Months at a time.
I know. Well, and that's always because you're always going on cool vacations. So
I work a lot actually. I travel a lot for work.
Do you? I don't know what that's like. Couldn't imagine. So we're gonna actually go through some of these benefits, and I don't know. Again, I don't know when the last time somebody actually brought this idea up to you. If anybody's mentioned it, seeing that you always come in here every single month. But the different benefits that we have is on the sheet right here, and it just shows the different member perks that you can have at already half of what you're coming in and paying for now. And you can also take advantage of guest privileges. So anytime that you leave the gym, I know that you always go work out with your sister. You can bring her in with you if you wanted her to come in and try some services as well. And so you can take advantage of that. Our member appreciation parties, you can take advantage of all of those different discounts. Not to mention, the other day you said you were running low on your JWoww.
I am.
So if we get you set up with the membership, you're saving money, and I can get you the JWoww for 20% off the cost.
Really?
Yeah. I know you were running low, so I can get you set up with that new member discount. And what I can even go further to do is take the remainder of the week and apply that towards your first month's dues. So you'd be paying even less for your first month of the membership. So I would take that price, which is that price would be $27.99. So I would take the remainder of this week that's at that $27.99 value, and I can apply it to your first month of $49.50. And when I take that from that, in your first month that you would actually pay for the membership is only going to be just $20-something.
All right, let's go ahead and do it.
You want to do that?
Let's do it.
Perfect.
So I get my lotion too, and I really want some new lotion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll get you set up with that. And since it's 20% off of the entire sale, we can go ahead and get you set up with your facial lotion, daily moisturizer, and your lip balm. That way, you don't have to visit us as often, although I know you come in here because you just can't wait to see.
You got it. You do.
But it'll last longer, and it'll look so much better.
All right, well, I'm excited.
Let's get you set up.
All right.
All right, everybody hold your applause. I know that was Oscar winning. I don't do autographs because I feel like no, I'm kidding. But anyway, so what you guys saw there, now keep in mind that was a video that we filmed before the new program and the new membership policies have rolled out and things like that. So you did hear a lot of a little bit of dated information, but you saw the gist of the conversation and the flow. Now, you see that that's a member, or that was a customer example of somebody who'd been coming in there forever, right? And so I went about it in a personable approach because I could because there was a relationship already established there where I knew exactly how to talk to her. I knew she had a sister. I knew that she wanted to do the most efficient, and she needed to see the savings. She needed to see the value there, right? Taking advantage of retail sales opportunities, the upsell for retail, not just saying, hey, let's get you just set up with that JWoww you were running low on. We're going to get you set up with a facial tanner and a daily moisturizer, so that way it lasts longer for your tan. You don't have to come in every day. So you saw those examples of what we were just now discussing, and how if I would have approached it any differently based on that critical thinking skill set, if I would have approached that specific customer based on her personality in a way of, I'm too salesy, I'm following a script, I'm way too robotic, guess what would have happened to that? That would have not happened. She would have probably left and yelped about me being a weirdo, pushy salesperson, and she's not coming back there looking for a new tanning place. Any suggestions on Facebook would be happening, right? So wanted to make mention of that, and wanted you guys to see that as well, because I wanted you guys to sort of get that understanding of how that conversation needs to take place, right? So, and it literally takes 4 or 5 minutes, because the features and benefits that you want to cover with people that are like this, that, you know, have been around that long or have already been sold on you. And I wish I would have showcased in this specific video, but it is in another one in a more advanced training, is ultimately you want to discuss with them how they can use your services and never pay for it ever. That right there is always, always, always the sale, right? That's always where they're going, yeah, I want to do that. How do I do that, right? And that's ambassador. And you could talk to them about, well, first, we need to get you set up on the program. To do so, we got to reserve the program in our system. So do you have a card on you on file? I can get that set up for you today. Nothing's up front. Nothing like that's happening. Not charging anything. But I have to do this first in order to get you set up to be able to get everything for free. The next thing that we discuss after she gets set up at that point is all of her friends that she goes to Zumba class with, or she does her workout classes or plays softball with, or anything like that. Anybody like that, just bring them in. We'll give them spa services. They love it as much as you did. Or, hey, look, if I were you, I'd be telling them, look, go get one of these programs while they're having that special, and she can make them do that. I do that to my friends all the time. Like, hey, go get this so that I can get credit for it, right? So that's the discussion I would have, and just say, for once you get to 5 people, don't worry about paying for this for a year. So let's work towards 5, but in the meantime, 1 at a time is cool. We can bank these. You know, you don't have to utilize the free month right away if you want to build it up till you get to 5, and then have that just comp the year. That's up to you, but that's where the critical thinking skills have got to take place. So without further ado, I'm going to end this webinar because I promised you guys I wouldn't take forever, but there's so much to be discussed on with this, and I feel like there is so much more advanced training and details. Like I said, I'm going to have a manual available for you, and once I do, you guys know I'm always emailing you and posting to the Facebook group. When that is available, you will see it. In the meantime, don't let that stop you from at least starting phase 1 if you are in this number of being interested in doing this internal EFT increase campaign. Which means you're going to start off, as seen here, focusing on those paid in full people or sessions people, right? Printing that report and really making the commitment to say, today is July 14th. By August 14th, I'm going to be completely done. That is my deadline. I'm going to be completely done with reaching out to each and every single paid in full or session-based person that I have in my database. And I will have to be able to say I have tried and have been successful with whoever. Maybe you weren't successful with some, that's going to happen, but be completely finished and through your entire list of people that fall into this category by August 14th, so you can move into phase 2. If you have questions regarding this, you want to get a specific training set up, I have no problem doing so. Like I said, there's so many more things that could be discussed. Major thank you to Amanda from Chino Hills for getting on this and giving her testimonial. She's more than willing to help you guys as well. If you call at California 12, that's Chino Hills, California, she'll be there. She's closing this evening. I know her schedule. But, you know, she's more than willing to give you advice as well, maybe on what specifically worked for her. Because we all know that we have to put our own little twist on things based on our market to see, you know, like what other specific benefits or additional features or offerings did you offer to sort of give them the whiff-em, right? The incentive to do so. Maybe you need to give them a free gift if they do it, a collagen face mask or, lip balm, something like that. So anyway, just get with me, email me, set up a time if you want to do additional training. Meanwhile, I will go ahead and post this recording to the Facebook group as well as email it out whenever it's done uploading. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and I hope you Eagles don't forget to be awesome. Talk to you guys on the next webinar on Friday. Bye, guys.
To stop conference recording, press 1.